La da 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 da. Hello, friends. It's me, Toilet Tea Paper. How are you? Happy Sunday. I hope you're all doing well. We're going to turn things over to Sid here in a second, but I just wanted to take a minute because there's been a lot of discussion recently about artificial intelligence and about artificial intelligence taking jobs away from artists. I know that artificial intelligence could never take my job away, the job of being a roll of toilet paper, but I was worried that perhaps it could take away my job being a comedian. So I asked ChatGPT to write me 10 jokes about the month of May. So let's see if these are any good. Why do trees love May? Because it is their spruce awakening. Spruce. Okay, that was horrible. All right, here's the next one. What is the best thing about May? It brings May flower showers. That is horrible. ChatGPT thinks this is good. Okay, here's another one. Why did the gardener plant a light bulb in May? He wanted to grow a bright idea. These are horrible, ladies and gentlemen. I apologize. I apologize for ChatGPT. And let's do something that's a true legend that can never be replaced by artificial intelligence. And that is my close personal friend, the one, the only, Sid Krofft. Take it away, Sid. Oh, I'm going to go throw my computer away.
Ladies and gentlemen, the unusual artistry of Sid Krofft.
Hi, everybody. Wow, I know, are you in shock? I took my hat off because today's show is all about makeup and hair. Boy, can I use that. Toilet, thank you so much. And thank God that you never grew hair, because that would be so uncomfortable for the whole world. Totally. I love your jokes, Ta-da. They were funny. Okay, so anyway, I took my hat off today because I wanted to show you, like I said, I wanted to show you my hair. Why do I love hats? This is why. Because women love shoes, and I love, oh God, I've always loved hats. Remember Lidsville? Well, it was back in the 70s, and I created that show. It was a whole land of hats, and the place where they lived, it was an awesome show. You got to find it. We've been posting it. It starred Charles Nelson Riley. And before I even came up with that show, I had a friend of mine that brought him to my house. Remember Rip Taylor that threw all the confetti up in the air? Funniest guy. Well, I worked in vaudeville with him. And so, hey, when I came up with Lidsville, I thought, oh my God, if I could just get Charles Nelson Riley, who was also a huge, huge star at that time. And I got the same feedback with all the other stars, oh, it's going to ruin my career. I don't want to do a kiddie show because people will think, I can't get a job. But it still lives on. It's a classic, right? And so, hey, and the place where I met him, in my house, guess what? I'm still here after all these years. It's coming up 53 years. Okay, let's get back to my hat and why I always wear a hat. Because I got to tell you, I used to have dark brown brown, almost black, really, really like nice curly hair. And then when it started turning gray and grayer, and I don't know why all the curls went. We forgot to cover the bird.
I'll cover them as soon as we get our guest on. I've already been thinking about it.
Oh, yeah. Kelly, you blew it.
I know.
Okay.
It's okay.
But I like birds in the background, you know, because my house is like a little jungle, you know. And so anyway, what am I talking about? My curls. Yeah, the curls and the birds are screaming in the background, and my gray hair and my hat, you know. But my guest today, I'm really looking forward. This is going to be interesting, isn't it, Kelly? Because my guest today never, you know, really gets the praise. That's a good word. That what he does for a living, it's just not him. There are many, many out there, but he is the oh God, he is the artist of hair and makeup for many, many, many stars out there. And, you know, I don't think he would be too crazy to do somebody's beautiful, beautiful hair and have them put a hat on, unless he's working around the hat, right? Because it's art, what he does. And so, you know, he makes all the guys out there look so handsome, and you know, and the women more beautiful, and he does makeup too. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're all in awe. Thank you so much for coming on. It's Sean James. So let's see how much luck we have. Wow! No way! Where are you? You're in your car. Oh, you're at the Dodger game?
Yes. Hi, Sid. Hi, Kelly.
Hi.
I'm at the Dodgers game.
Oh, well, this is incredible. You know, oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm so happy that you joined us today, because every week it's been, well, I'm always prepared for a nightmare, you know, and every week I really feel, well, maybe next week the sky's going to fall and I'll be like Chicken Little, you know, because last week we lost totally. A minute before we're ready to go on, we lost electricity.
Wow.
Yeah. My son walked in and said, the whole hillside went out. And this is a minute before we're going to have David Copperfield on. And then all of a sudden it was 3 o'clock. I don't know. Thank you, God. And the electricity came on. Yeah. So,
well, look, the birds have stopped talking when I came
well,
on.
because
I
think Kelly covered them. You know,
they
they
did.
love to see me. You know, I'm the guy that feeds them. But the big first question that I want to ask you, Sean, is
why am I wearing a hat?
no, no, Sean, what is that accent? Where are you from?
This is my Australian accent. This is the way I learned to talk. So I just talk like this. I can do an American accent, but I sound like John Wayne or something.
No, don't do that.
Why not? You're welcome. So,
John Wayne, when we shot Puff and Stuff at Paramount, he was shooting a movie almost on the next stage, and every time the little people had a scene, he used to come on and watch.
Oh, wow.
But there was one thing that we did. We had the West Wind and the East Wind. They were characters, and you know, all the four winds.
Yeah.
And the day that we were going to shoot the West Wind, it was John Wayne's voice, and he had to come in and see if it was okay. And if it wasn't, he said he was going to do it. But
Wow.
but Lenny Weinrib, oh my God, it was spot on.
God, you have
John Wayne.
a story about literally everybody. It's just incredible.
Well, shit, when you're on this planet for almost 94 years, you're going to have a story about everybody too. All those
Well,
famous people
God,
that,
I hope I have a life like yours, Sid. Well, I mean, not many people are going to get to have a life like yours, but age-wise, I hope I look as good as you. You have a beautiful face, and
well,
you've got that
thank
full
you.
head of hair. You
Yeah,
know,
but
I've
it's,
admired your skin for a long time,
well, thank
and
you.
and
Yeah,
you know,
because you do makeup.
I think that's first how we connected. I complimented your skin and wanted to know what your routine was. So,
Oh God, you
um,
were the guy?
yeah, so,
Oh, I remember that.
yeah,
How
yeah.
do I get rid of the turkey
You
neck?
know what? It is beautiful, and it is you, and it is just how God made you.
Well, thank
So,
you so much.
yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you.
You look great just the way you are.
Well, thank you. I'm so grateful to wake up every day, and I still got my mind. I'm working on a huge project right now.
Yeah,
It's amazing
yeah.
to
I
me.
mean, this is a project right here. Like you know, this is the new way of a TV show right here. This is TV. This is the new TV.
And you know
Um,
what? We're watching. Hey, thank you everybody out there. New Zealand and Brazil and Canada.
Anybody who has Wi-Fi can watch
They
our
can watch.
yeah,
show.
Yeah, but they watch every week. They get hooked because, the reason that Kelly made me do this.
I did.
So,
I force him every week.
right.
We put him in a padded cell. It just looks really pretty.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Because, and then I said to Kelly, wow, nobody's heard my stories. You mentioned somebody, you're from Australia.
Yes.
I went there. I love Australia. It took, we flew there on a clipper. It took about 45 days
Oh,
to get, it seemed
wow.
like 45 days.
Wow.
And we had to stop. We left from LA. We had to stop in Hawaii, Fiji. When we got off the plane, because it landed to refuel for an hour, it was like, oh my God, you just hit another planet. I
Right.
mean, the people and what they were wearing. And as you know, every country has their own smell, right? Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And the air is
The
so
very
different.
all you smell is eucalyptus in Australia. It's so
Oh
beautiful.
my God.
Yeah.
Well, we finally land.
Where
Yeah.
I come from, it's the home of the macadamia nut, and also I grew up across the street from a sugarcane plantation and pineapple plantation,
Oh, wow.
and you
Oh,
know, it was a really tropical experience. People forget that we are the largest island in the world, but we're also the smallest continent. So we're two things: we're an island and a continent. But in my life, I grew up in a part of Australia that's called Queensland, and it's very
yeah,
tropical.
yeah.
And my life was very much like an island life. I grew up at the beach, very much like Hawaii. It's a place called Caloundra, Kawana Waters, Noosa, Maroochydore. They're coastal beach towns and really beautiful. But let's bring it back to you because that's, where I learned about Sid and Marty Krofft and my favorite,
We
favorite, favorite,
were
favorite of
huge.
all time, HR Puffin stuff.
Yeah,
And
it's huge in Australia. Huge.
huge, huge.
Yeah, really. They just loved all of our shows. Oh my God. And the people there, oh, they're so beautiful and so kind and and slow moving, and the beaches are unbelievable. Beware of the sharks. But
Yeah.
the lifeguards sit up on a really high tower, and when you hear the bell ringing, get the hell out of the water or you're going to get a little bite on your butt.
Yeah,
and more.
it's not as dangerous as what the Los Angeles is, and I find that mystique and danger element of the Australia is very you know, it's fun to talk about the spiders and all that stuff, but really you don't really experience that when you're there. And when you're a kid, I didn't know anyone that got bitten and hospitalized by a bug or a bite. I do have a friend who got eaten by a shark.
Well,
Um,
when I was there, there were two kids
Oh,
that
wow.
were diving off the cliff, and the shark evidently was watching them. And and the second one dove in to try and save his friend. They were young.
That's a
And
hungry shark.
and the shark, God, yeah, no, yeah, but don't forget, I was there in the 50s.
Yes.
So that's
Yeah.
when the beaches, you know, they had a big net, you know, way
Yeah.
out there.
They still have
So,
shark nets in Australia.
yeah,
There's still shark nets. Yeah.
but
Forgive me if I'm looking around a little bit. As I'm here, I'm in the car park of Dodger Stadium, and literally everyone is walking by, as you can see here. And I'm right at the entrance to Dodger Stadium, so people are walking by wondering why I'm sitting in a car at the big
and
game.
talking to
I'm
yourself.
talking to myself. So
You know why?
in
Because
this
people,
world,
yeah, but you know what, Sean? People that talk to themselves have a lot of money in the bank. So
yeah.
if they ask you, say, I'm just a rich kid, you know, and I'm loaded. Yeah.
I love that you think I'm a kid.
Well, with your LA, oh my God.
There's my
I've
hair
got,
there. There's
see?
my bleached hair under there.
Yeah.
Who's winning the game today?
The Dodgers are, I think. I mean, I left a half an hour ago, so I came out here to make sure I didn't miss the connection.
Yeah.
I have
Oh
my
my God.
drink. I have my drink, and I have my my veggie Dodgers dog here. It's
Oh,
half
cool.
eaten.
So you go all the way.
Yes.
Hey, listen.
Oh,
Can
and they have today. They have Cracker Jill.
Oh,
So, because this is to celebrate women in sports.
Yeah.
cool.
So good job,
that?
Cracker Jack. You're doing something cool here.
Are you
Cracker
doing
Jill.
a commercial for them? You
No.
get paid?
No,
No.
I like when companies step out of the box and do something a little different. I think that's
No,
really cool.
that's me.
Yeah.
You know, I go left.
Yeah,
I go left
it's
all the time.
inclusive, and it
Yeah.
gives equity to people, and inclusivity, equity, and you know, diversity is really a good thing.
Don't
That's
use. Hey, listen, don't use big words around me. I quit school when I was 15. But you know what I didn't say? And maybe it'll take a minute or so. Guess who I went to Australia for the first time with? Liberace.
Oh my God.
He was
Oh,
huge. And we
that must have been
land.
so much fun.
Well, no. We land. No, it was crazy. By the time we left, they barred him from the country. Yeah, because
He was a
I
madman.
got to tell you a real fast story, because today, of course, the show's about you, but everybody out there loves to hear crazy stories. And the Queen Mother is involved. Okay, we land in Sydney, and he's going to do these huge concerts in Melbourne and Sydney. You know, we did Sydney, then we went to Melbourne, we came back to Sydney. Always sold out, you know, big arenas. I can't remember where.
So now you were with him, you were producing his show?
No, I was his opening act. I'm a performer.
God. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I did a puppet act.
Right.
I
Yes.
opened for Judy Garland before I joined Liberace. Yeah. I was on her first national tour. I worked with a bunch of big stars, never as big as Judy Garland.
Wow.
She was the biggest star in the world. We
Wow.
played the Greek Theater here
Yep.
for a week.
Wow.
No artist has ever played for a week. You know,
That was like
big artists.
before residencies.
Well, not at the Greek Theater. There
Right.
wasn't such a
Right.
thing. Yeah. Well, that's a big Las Vegas word, isn't it? Yeah.
Right. Right. Yep.
Okay. So we land in Sydney, and there's nobody at the airport to greet him. And usually it's like the Beatles.
Right.
There's thousands and thousands of women,
Yep.
you know, because the women love, the old women just loved him. And so the promoter, he was Australian. He said, "You're going to have to fly back to Fiji because you're not going to believe 2 hours ago the Queen Mother arrived."
Oh.
Yeah, for the first time in 35 years.
Oh my God.
In Australia.
Yeah.
And Liberace said, "We've been on that plane, it seems like 8 days to get here." Oh, it was like, it was a beautiful plane because two decks.
Yeah.
And so he said, "You know, I'm not going back to Fiji." He said, "But you got to make an entrance, you know." And it's usually the airport, like the Beatles.
Yeah.
And so this was before the Beatles, 1957. No, it may be 1958, something like that.
Wow.
Could have been the beginning of 59. And so he said, "Where's the Queen Mother?" And he said, "Well, there's at 2:00 a big garden party." And he said, I'm going to crash the gate," because Liberace was brilliant at
self-promotion.
He was his own publicist.
Right.
He didn't have a publicist. He promoted everything. He was brilliant. And so he said, "They're not going to let you in. There'll be, you know, there's thousands of people. It's a garden party. And you've got to be in morning clothes, you know. I mean, the men have to wear tails and the women have to be covered to their wrists." And he said, "I'm going to the garden. I will get in," right? And so the chauffeur took him. And of course, the guards said, "Your invitation, please," before they allowed you through the gate. And he said, "We don't have one." He said, the guard said, "I'm so sorry." And Liberace stuck his head out of the limousine in the back seat. And he said, "How dare you? I'm Liberace." Well, you know the Australians, how laid back they are. And they went into shock. They didn't know what to do. And Liberace said, "Drive on," you know. And they let them through. They were just, you know, because
they didn't want to be rude to Liberace.
Liberace, I mean, wow. So there's thousands of people standing in the garden, and they're waiting for the Queen Mother on the balcony. You know, the trumpets were going to blare, and for her to come out and wave at everybody. And the press saw Liberace in a suit that every time he moved in the daylight, it kept changing colors.
From the sparkle.
Oh, yeah. And so all eyes were on Liberace, and the gossip in the garden was, "Oh my God, oh my God." You know, a huge star like that, what's he doing here? And the press said, "How did you get in? Did you have an invitation?" He said, "No, I crashed the gate." He wiped her off, you know, the front page. Just wiped her right off the front page.
Liberace crashes the Queen's garden party.
And then he said, "Get out of," the trumpet started blaring. He said, "Get everybody, get out of my way." And the Queen Mother came up, and she was waving to 1,000 people. "Can't you see she's waving at me?" He said.
He was so funny.
Oh,
he was so funny.
He's fabulous. I mean, you know, he even on stage, you know, his act. I mean, he wasn't a great pianist, but can you imagine a piano player who really couldn't sing well, taking command of the world like that?
It's
You know,
amazing. I mean, he's just a fascinating human being. A fascinating. I loved the Michael Douglas version of the Liberace, the story. I thought
no,
you
no,
did.
I'm going to stop you right
You didn't
there.
like it.
No, I even wrote a letter to the Times.
Oh,
I mean, furious. I knew him since 1952. He was nothing like that Michael Douglas movie.
it
That
was too harsh.
I toured with him for 2
Yeah,
years,
yeah,
you know, and he was nothing. I mean, you couldn't talk to him like that. Maybe at the end, before he
right.
died, because
Yeah,
that's what the movie was about, you know. Maybe his life changed,
right.
but I didn't know. Liberace came to this house many times. And, he'd always want me to invite a whole bunch of people because Liberace was a trip.
Yeah,
He, if if you asked him who the president is, he didn't know anything but Liberace and his costumes, and
that's
and
fantastic.
he'd always say, "Oh, Sid, you're so sensitive,"
Oh,
because I always made fun of him, And he lived on Kings Road, I wasn't driving. I used to walk up there from the Chateau Marmont, but the stories about James Dean, my best stories, and
wow.
why he was thrown out of Australia. But shit, the whole show's about you, okay?
We can
Oh,
tell. We can
listen,
tell.
I love hearing your stories. I could sit down for hours and listen to your stories. I mean, I had a bunch of questions for you, but
No,
um,
go for
well,
it. Go
I
for it.
just, it's like um, just any kind of story you tell is just so fascinating. I was talking to my father the other day, and my father's 84, and he actually arrived. He's an Irishman who moved to Australia in 1956, came on a boat with $100 in his pocket,
Wow.
and arrived in Australia, and worked in a hotel cleaning toilets, and became a multimillionaire through real estate. And he's an immigrant, and his life really inspired me. But and I did a similar thing. I moved to America when I was 19, and in 1989, and haven't hit my multi-millions though. But
But
he
yeah, you talk to yourself. Okay. That's not enough
I
fun.
just got to keep talking to myself. But he was my father's my inspiration, and I was talking to him just 2 nights ago, and he was telling me some stories I'd never heard before, and about it was just a really simple basic story. And my mother was sick when I was a kid. She had dialysis. She was on dialysis, and
Wow.
she died at 38 when I was 11. And he talked to me about that time in his life. Makes me emotional. But he said, he worked for the St. George City Council, and at the time they gave him 2 months leave, paid leave, and this was in the 60s, maybe the 60s it was, and they gave him 2 months paid leave, and he said, he wouldn't have survived without that recognition from the city council in his job, supporting him at that time. And it was a fascinating story because it's kind of way before its time, where an employer was letting someone have leave for a sick pay to take care of his
Yeah,
wife. And it was
that's right.
really, and I'd never heard him tell that story before. And I just love his stories. I mean, my father has great stories about being an Irishman as an immigrant in Australia, and just these little journeys. And human beings are fascinating people, in no matter whether you're dealing with celebrities or billionaires or millionaires or whatever. the story of a human's survival and connection to each other, like that fascinates me because I get to do it daily as a hairdresser and a makeup artist.
Yeah.
Through hair and makeup, I get to connect with people and hear their life, and it brings me a connection that keeps me in my job every day, that makes me wake up and with enthusiasm. I'm 55 and I've been doing hair and makeup since I was 17.
Wow.
Wow.
And
That is so cool.
I've had incredible celebrities that I've worked with. Most recently, I just worked with a bunch of new people on a Disney show called Goosebumps. And I just did all the
yeah.
promos for this new Disney show, which was really fun. To see all these young actors in their beginnings of their careers, but actually not really in the beginnings, because a lot of the Disney stars have worked since they were kids, you know, like you know, these Goosebump characters. And I've worked with a lot of really cool people. And
wait a minute, who just won an Academy Award?
my
And
girl,
I knew her
Jamie
dad.
Lee.
Yeah. Huh?
My girl, Jamie Lee. She's
yeah.
just won.
And I knew her dad, you know, because I knew Marilyn Monroe through Jack Cole, who gave her all her movements. And Jack Cole lived up on the top of Outpost off of Laurel Canyon. And I used to walk up there. It would take 45 minutes to an hour from Hollywood, from Sunset Boulevard.
So he was her choreographer?
He was more than that. He had a group of the Jack Cole dancers, famous.
Yep.
And she wouldn't make a move without him. And he taught her to be as sexy as she was. And when they shot Some Like It Hot, you know, I was invited on the set, and that's the first time that I met her dad. Oh my God, such a good movie. It was a great movie, yeah, wasn't it? Yeah.
I mean,
and so,
she actually has some pictures of her as a little girl when she was on that
on the set.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Well,
you
maybe I'm standing in the background.
Oh, these girls here. They're doing Dodgers poses.
Yeah. They better get back to the game. What are they doing out there?
I think the game's about over.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
So you don't know what the score is?
I don't. That's okay.
Sean,
that's okay.
2 things. Maybe you should get me together with your dad, because if I got great stories and he's got great stories, can you imagine all the stories
that two old men would have?
Yeah.
The two of you, you know, the interesting thing is I do have kind of like a little bit of like a full circle roundabout, because when I was posting the pictures the other day, I came across the HR Puff and Stuff and the Bay City Rollers.
How cool.
And
wow.
The interesting thing is when my mother was in hospital, there was a promoter in Australia called Kevin Jacobson, and his wife was also on dialysis. And my mother and she was were like roommates in the hospital. And Kevin Jacobson got my sister's Bay City Rollers tickets
when they were in Australia.
They were in Australia. And
yeah.
Of course I was too young, but my sisters used to dress me up as the Bay City Rollers, like Les, Derek and Woody and Les and, you know, these guys. Later on in my life, I came to Los Angeles and met this Irishman, my mentor, Oscar Cullinan, who has Oscar salons in Australia. His brother, Vince Cullinan, was friends with Les. And I met Les at a party. It was so weird.
Well, we brought them to America hoping, you know, they were supposed to be the next Beatles. We did a series with them. Oh, they were so difficult.
They were super cute, and they were really...
They just, you know, didn't have energy, or I don't know. I don't know what went on. I tried so hard,
They were
you know.
Scottish.
Oh, is that? Are you blaming the Scots? Hey, what about?
They had
What
those
about?
cheesy outfits.
Yeah.
That
Well,
was, it was
they
hard to get
didn't
away
make
from
it.
those.
They didn't make it, and they. Oh God, that's not a cool story about them, but they're the Bay City Rollers.
SATURDAY.
Yeah,
No,
Let's go.
and that's
SATUR.
as far as it went.
Yeah.
What about Olivia
Oh
Newton-John? Did you know
God.
her?
I didn't know her, but I have a friend who was just obsessed with her, and you know what Australian wasn't? She was like the Queen of Australia.
Of course.
Little did we know she was actually British.
Oh, I never knew that. I met her.
Did we lose him?
We lost you.
Hold on.
What happened? You have a
The game got let out, and they turned the Wi-Fi off. I don't know.
no. The Wi-Fi went off. Okay, of course. It's hey,
It's always hell's a poppin'.
everybody out there. 2 weeks ago, I introduced our guest, and Kelly hands me a piece of paper and said, "He's sick."
And then last week, no electricity.
Oh my God.
Okay, let's see if maybe I can get him back on just so we can say goodbye. Hold on, let me see. Hold on. Here,
we've only been on 35 minutes.
I know, it's okay. We can.
Look how red my face is.
I know, he will come back.
Yeah.
He is fantastic.
Maybe I need some water.
Oh, but this is hell's a poppin', kids. This is how the world works here.
I mean, would you like my job out there?
It's a fun job. How about would you like my job out there?
Wait a minute. I can't wait to come on. But this is, that's not me. You know, I love perfection. And
life is not perfect.
Well, of course, it's not a fluffy cloud. And it never will be. You know, as a matter of fact, we learn so much more from bad than we do from good because we correct it.
That is true.
You know, yeah.
Well, you know what's interesting? That it's always the bad stuff that make the best stories.
Oh.
And there he is.
Are you John again?
Yes, I'm so sorry. My phone overheated.
That's okay. I told Sid, you know what? I hope you come back on so we can at least say
you know
goodbye.
what, Sean?
My
There's always
phone
an
overheated.
excuse. Either it's a holiday or income tax. In LA, we didn't have to pay income tax until when?
I don't know. Don't look
October.
at me.
What are you talking about?
You mean taxes?
Yeah.
April.
April. No.
Now it's October.
October, because we had all those floods. Wow. Did you hear about we're in Florida. What's it called?
Palm Beach?
Palm Beach.
Oh,
They had a tornado. Yeah.
There's my friend Tom, who's Farouk Productions there, and he was he's my Olivia Newton-John fan.
Okay.
He was like
Tom. I met her. Alan Carr produced a great character here in Hollywood. He produced Grease, and he had a big party, I think before the movie was released, or announcing that she was going to be in it with John Travolta, and I was lucky enough to be invited.
Wow.
You know, and if I wasn't invited, I got to tell everybody this: I used to crash. You know, every night.
And he still will. Just let him know where the party is. He'll come crash.
Oh no.
You're
I'll
like
say, I'm sorry,
like Andy
I'm late.
Warhol.
You know, my line is. Is that your car?
No, that's someone behind us.
He's stealing the car next to him.
That's someone behind us.
Oh, it is. And do they want you to move?
No, it's
They're
someone's
trying to
just arrived at their car.
Okay. Well, hey, everybody out there, let's not, you know, the game is over. We don't know what the score is.
Yeah.
You know, there's been so many incredible movies and, you know, Broadway shows about like Hairspray. right?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
I think they're doing Broadway Hairspray again.
Of
They're doing it
course
again
they
in
are.
Los Angeles.
Guess what else they're doing again on Broadway? Hair. My
Hair.
friend Kenny Ortega,
Yeah.
he's just got the rights to it, and he's doing it on Broadway.
Can we
And
just talk about Witchy Poo's hair salon, please? That was a
Yes.
brilliant idea.
Witchy Pooh's hair salon.
Yes. Are we going to
Where is
open
the
one up?
doll?
Are we going to open
Yes.
one up?
Where is the
Witchy
doll?
Poo, when she goes in for the makeover,
Well,
like I
look at.
specifically remember sitting at home watching
Does
that.
she need hair? A
Yes.
hair job?
When she spins and her hair fluffs up and she's so excited about her new hairdo. And like, you know,
What
just
is it?
brilliant.
Is this a new series, you mean?
No, we need to do a pop-up. We need
a
to do a
A
pop-up
pop-up of Witchy Poo.
Witchy Poo's hair salon.
Yes.
I'll do
You know,
the business, you do the face.
I just went to the Barbie exhibit in Santa Monica, and they had like a hair salon for you. Like they had a pop-up. I really think you should do a pop-up, Marty Krofft pop-up
Marty
experience.
Krofft.
Yeah, Sid and Marty Krofft
Oh,
pop-up experience.
really?
That would be cool.
Don't you think? Like just do the whole Sid and Marty Krofft experience where
Yeah,
like the colors.
I think our company's been offered a whole bunch of those. And
So what it is just like they overtake a building for like a
know it.
weekend.
Oh, no.
And it becomes an Instagram experience.
No. You know, I have stepped into another world too. You know, I don't like reboots or anything like that. You know, because I like to be creative, and I know what you're saying, and there should be an experience like that because we did 26 television series,
Right.
and every one of them was successful. You know,
Yes.
and it started with Puff and Stuff and the Bugaloos and Lidsville and Sigmund and the Seamoss. Land of the Lost, you know, was our huge hit. So was Sigmund. Sigmund was
So Banana
huge.
Splits was they were your characters.
Only we created
your
them.
characters.
That's what got us into television.
Right.
Because I didn't know shit about television.
But
Nothing.
That was your lead into like the wacky characters.
Yeah, well,
they were quite wacky.
Wacky. No, we had what we called the show business factory at that time, and we were building rides, and we had shows and all that for all the Six Flag parks. We were doing fine, and then I asked Six Flags because they supported this huge operation that we had, 250 people. You know. The most creative people in Hollywood, most of them were young, because I love young minds because they explode, you know, just listening to their ideas, you know, because it's great to move with the times and you know, and go further with our crafts.
One thing you don't know about me is that I was in children's television too.
Oh, you were?
I was on a children's TV show called The Brekkie Bash in Australia with Anne-Marie Bigger, who had a TV show with a puppet called Agro. And
you want to know something? I heard of that. It was a big hit, right?
So it was a hit on Saturday morning TV, and I was a character called Super K, which I was Commander Super K, and I had a dog called K9, which was kind of a robotic puppet dog that I used. It had a tape recorded version of its voice in a button, and I would I knew the questions, and I would ask the questions, and I knew the answers that were coming up on the tape. So, hey, K9, what was how many light years away from the planet Earth are we? And he would say 29,000, you know, whatever. So I did that for about 6 months right before I moved to America. I was already a hairdresser, but I was doing this character as well, and it was really fun work. It was I loved being in children's TV. It was
Well,
very odd to be recognized because it was these little kids, and so it was like, oh no, that's not me. Nope, that's not me. Sorry, wrong guy. So it's like I don't want to talk to little
well,
kids.
when we got into children's television, I was worried as hell after we shot the first episode of Puffin Stuff because it was so trippy and
Yeah,
it was so different. For don't forget it was on at 8 o'clock in the morning, so
yeah.
that's little tiny kids.
You were getting us all jazzed up for the day.
And it was amazing. It was an instant hit,
Oh, it was
And the
so
Beatles.
colorful. It was
Did
so
you know?
colorful.
Did you hear this? Yeah, because I love Technicolor. I love bright. Makes you smile.
Yeah,
But the Beatles, that was 1969. They were huge. And
right.
they would order every time one of the shows would be, before it even aired, we sent them a copy because they were locked in their rooms. And HR Puffin Stuff was, to them, they couldn't wait for the next episode.
Yeah.
Well, of course, Jack Wilde too. He was
Oh,
in
he
it.
was awesome.
Yeah.
He was so awesome.
And everybody out there, you've heard the stories over and over
Yeah.
and over again, about all of that. But what else? Oh, in the 50s, I used to put, we all did. It's the days of Grease. We used to put lanolin in our hair.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah. I mean,
God.
to get that slick look,
To get,
you guys just had such
idiot.
if the mods and the rockers and
Oh yeah.
there were such tribes of looks, and that's one thing that's different about today is I was just talking about this, there's not such tribal like people don't have looks as much as they used to. People tend to change their look, like they'll have one look today and then tomorrow will be a different look. They're not so committed to one look.
Well, don't forget, in those days, you're talking about performers,
Right.
That either started in vaudeville or whatever, and they slowly went up the ladder. So they had the huge background. You know what I want to ask you? This is, I often wondered in my whole life, all through my life, when a couple of women go to the bathroom, what do they talk about?
How would he know?
But wait. No.
Wow.
I always, what do they
You'd be
talk
surprised.
about? Do they talk dirty?
I worked in a club one night in the women's toilet doing hair
No.
in Brisbane.
Okay, the reason I bring that up, because I know you said hairdresser. Hairdressers have to listen to a woman. They know everything.
Yeah.
I wish I was a fly on the wall when they come in to have their hair done.
No, you don't.
And the stuff that you have to, you're like a psychiatrist, right?
Well, you know what? I never have gotten into that part of hairdressing, like trying to give advice. I'm not an advice giver, but I'm a good listener. So I like to listen.
Well, they like that.
And I like to, I'm a sober guy. I'm sober 14 years. And I keep my sobriety kind of like as my strength of like thinking in a good manner and not making rash decisions or I try to share with a sober mind, and if I give advice, I'd probably share what my experience is, and I wouldn't assume or give advice to someone about what they should do. I would just share Well, in that situation, I've had the experience where I've done this and that's worked for me, like that kind of thing. But I'm not someone who says, well, you should do this. I don't think that's a good representation. I do hear hairdressers talking like that, thinking they're doctors, but we're not. We're
Well,
craft,
it's like bartenders.
yeah, we're
Bartenders.
craftsmen, and we should be good listeners.
Yeah.
And
And
that's
bartenders have to listen to, everybody's problems. And it's great because it's great to talk to someone. And and whoever you're talking to, if they do have great advice, my mom and dad always used to say, if you want to ask us a question about life, um, if we didn't have that experience, we can't give you the answer.
right.
Find somebody that had, we're not going to make it up,
Yeah. In a good lesson in sobriety is for me, what I found is if you see someone that has what you want, like if you see someone living the life that you want to live, that's a good person to ask advice from. Like, how did you take the steps to get to where you are?
Oh,
Like,
oh my God.
there's another thing, like, if you want to be a really successful person, then take a really successful person to lunch and ask them how to be successful and what their journey was. Like, don't just, don't sit back and be proactive in what you want to do in your life. And quite often when you step out of yourself and say, hey, I love what I see in you, and I really want that for myself, and I'd love to take you for lunch and ask you about your journey and whatever, and buy them lunch. You know what I mean? Take them to a nice
Yeah,
place.
you know why you can buy them lunch? Because you're in a profession that it's a zillion-dollar profession, isn't it? Because everybody has to have their hair cut,
Yeah,
their hair done, because when we go out, we got to make sure we look great. It's
yeah,
always the hair,
yeah.
Forget what you're wearing. Peter Fonda, uh, I was on a talk show with him, and he was telling us that he just has one shirt, one pair of pants, and one pair of shoes, but he's got 50 of them because he
Wow.
said, I never want to think, what the hell am I going to wear today? Oh, when I get up. I just know I've
Wow.
only, yeah.
He's way before his time. You
No,
know,
that was
Jamie
fabulous.
Lee Curtis has the best wardrobe in the world. She wears blue or she wears black. She wears monochrome, and when you see her on TV shows, she wears colorful uh, clothes. But that's not her in real life. Her in real life is black or navy blue. That's it. That's what her wardrobe is, and she sticks with that uniform
No,
because
it's great.
she always looks good in it. And I love that. I love that. Hey, my crowd is over there. My
But you want
friend,
to know something? No, we've been on for an hour. I'm going to
my,
bump you off. Let's,
my friend, you
anyway.
have to meet my friend over here because that's my husband, and my husband over here, and my friend Brian Denley. He's a producer, director, writer, and you should have him on sometime. And I'm going to put you on the show, Brian. Is that okay? This is my friend Brian Donnelly.
Hey,
Hi,
Brian, hi, it's
He,
Sid Krofft.
big fan.
he's a big fan of yours, Sid.
Wow, thank you so much. Did
Absolutely.
I screw you up when you were a kid?
Yes,
I
very much
did.
so. I
Oh,
am definitely
cool.
Witchy Poo. I'm a cross between Witchy Poo, HR Puffin stuff,
Well, that's,
all of it.
well,
Brian
great.
Brian did the movie Saved, and also Queer as Folk, and a whole bunch of stuff.
Oh,
He,
Oh
cool.
my
he's
God,
really cool.
congratulations.
And then I have my friend
No
Grant.
one's as cool as Sean and you.
Then I have my friend Grant over here. Grant runs Venice Pride, and he's amazing.
Hi,
Hey,
Grant.
hi.
That's Grant. He runs Venice Pride. And then I have my husband Azaro right here. And
Oh, hello.
that's him.
Hey, nice meeting you.
And
Hey,
then,
hey, what was the score? We want to know
I
what.
think they're
what's
still
the
on.
score? What's the score?
5-3.
5-3. 5-3. Go Dodgers,
For
yeah.
Dodgers?
I
Yeah.
think
Oh,
they're still. Are they in the ninth inning yet?
Are they in the ninth inning?
They were at the bottom of 7.
Bottom of the 7th.
Oh, see,
But I'm
still
going to
got time.
connect you with Brian so you guys can talk sometime.
Yes.
Oh.
He's
Okay.
amazing.
hey, listen.
I'd be honored.
Well, thank you so much. You know what? I get knocked off at 4 o'clock, and we're really getting close. Hey,
Yes.
thank you so much, Sean,
You're
and
welcome.
thank you everybody for coming on.
And go enjoy the game.
You're welcome. We're leaving now, but it was an awesome thing. My friends at Lucy Pet, they gave us behind the seat tickets at the dugouts, and we had brunch this morning. We've been here since 10:30 this morning,
Oh wow.
and
You know what?
we've had an incredibly full day,
Well,
and yeah, it's really
yeah,
cool.
you know what? Kelly and myself, we're going to a big premiere tonight, but I'm going to wear my hat.
Oh yeah, put a little product in your hair.
Yeah.
My favorite product is Sumo Tech by Bumble and Bumble.
Oh, why? Is it too dull? Yeah, it is.
It just gives it a little texture. But I want to come and
Texture.
cut your hair sometime for you. So whenever you're ready for that, you let me know, okay?
Hey, thank you so much. We'll be talking. Usually after I go off, I call, but you're at a game. We'll talk some other time, okay?
Okay.
Hey, thank you. Have a great. The weather is great here, and it was supposed to be 100 today, and it's like 60. I wish the world would just make up its mind.
Thank you
We're
again.
ready for surprises.
Hey,
Thank you so much.
John.
What an absolute honor.
Bye.
I can't wait to talk.
Hey, everybody out there.
Okay.
Guess what? I always tell you every week, that was cool. I knew it was going to be an interesting show. You know, I love Australia. Oh, you got to go. I don't know. We don't know today at this moment who's going to be on next week.
Who's on first?
Yeah. But you know what, Kelly, we'll come up with it. If it isn't, you know, then you'll just have to be bored with
Little old
Kelly
you.
and Sid. Kelly and Sid. Does that look? No, Sid and Kelly. Who gets top bill?
You do, always.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
Why?
Because I like being a footnote.
Yeah. Okay, Sid and Kelly. Ta-da! Okay, looks good up on the marquee. I can see it in lights.
Great.
Yeah. Hey, thank you so much, everybody. Have a beautiful, beautiful rest of the day. And I'll see you next week. To be continued.